Yesterday we talked about having the power to choose. Today we're going to talk about once you understood that, now how do you plan and actually pivot in a way that makes sense? So today we're going to talk about the 4 steps that are included in how do you plan or do a pivot. Now, before we jump into that, I think it's something that's really important that you ask yourself, which is, why do you think you want to pivot? Is it because you're hearing voices from other people and they're telling you what you need to do? Or is it something that's deep down inside, what I like to call the Holy Spirit, that's guiding you and letting you know it is time for a change? Now, for myself, I want to say that this year, 2020, has been a huge aha for me. You see, in the beginning of this year, I was in a business that was B2B, and I know that God was showing me through things that were happening, it was time for me to get out of my comfort zone one more time to actually work with people, which is more of this B2C, which is business to consumer, meaning that I was going to be working with more people instead of a smaller group at a higher value with my corporate clients only. Now, here's the thing. I said yes, kind of. My huge fear is that I had never actually had any success when it came to meeting goals or attracting an audience online. And then there were a couple of occasions this year that people gave me some specific feedback and they said, you know what, Latasha, there's business you and then there's like the you. And I'm like, what is the difference between the business you and the you? Well, the business me is when I go into business meetings or business environments and I'm there to negotiate. The you talks about the authentic version of me, the one who likes to have fun, who loves the Lord, who loves her family, and understands that when I'm in my purpose, that things can happen that are exceedingly and abundantly more than I could expect on my own. But there was a process and a formula, and I realized this year, actually through VLOGMAS, that I was misapplying the formula. Do you want to know why? Because I had made a decision to actually do VLOGMAS, but I got a little sidetracked because I forgot what my intended purpose was. My intended purpose was, how could I use YouTube to actually have more meaningful content that could be found to serve more people in the areas that I believe God has gifted me in, which is helping people navigate their career without compromising, I'm saying now, their faith, their family, fitness, or fun. So I knew I needed to pivot. And I had this epiphany last week during the beginning of VLOGMAS, which was I was being business me, and I really needed to show the me. Now you might be saying, what was the aha moment? You know what the aha moment for me was? The aha moment was in another social media platform, I was being the authentic me. And it was actually attracting people when they were seeing me for the authentic version. Now, here's the thing. I had to have a little talk with Jesus and say, okay, well, now I need to apply this same thing to VLOGMAS. And so now I want to share with you how once I did this planful pivot, the impact that it had on my life. When I say free at last, for real, I feel free at last. So the first thing is I had to make a decision to give myself permission that in this community for VLOGMAS, I would allow myself to be just as crazy as I am on the other platform. So I made a decision for that. And I want to tell you, when I made that decision, it was a little scary. But then I knew the second piece was when I made that decision, I had to make the thing, which is in preparation for this transition, I had to prepare myself mentally as well as equip myself physically to say, you know what? I'm going to go there and I'm going to do what I need to do to be the authentic me so that there's brand consistency. And they would know, oh my gosh, she's crazy everywhere. And when I say Carrie's crazy everywhere, I mean, when I'm helping people authentically navigate through their careers, like you need to have this little level of craziness and comfort with who you are in order to do well and do whatever it is that God has called you to be. The second step, after you've done this second step, which is preparation, the third step is you need to prepare for transition. Now, in the area of transition, that's a different kind of conversation. The first 2 steps is all about you. The third step, when it comes to transition, you're saying now, I want to sit down and write a plan, and what people do I need to help me get there? Now, I don't care what you're trying to do in life. What I know for sure is God made us to be relational. And so if you want to do the thing in a way that will really glorify Him and help you accomplish your goals, there's an African proverb that comes to me that I use often, which is, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go far, you need other people. And so in this transition stage, this is when you're writing the plan, you're thinking about who can help you, and you are actually using your voice and asking for help. And then after you execute this plan and results start to happen, the fourth step of the powerful pivot, or how do you pivot successfully, is when you start to see results. And results is what I call the harvest. The harvest is usually when people sit back and say, oh, this is good. What I'm doing with my pivot is working. And I want to caution you here, because what I realize when it comes to pivoting, if it's a part of your lifestyle, when it comes to the power to choose, when you are pivoting, that means that this is a cycle and there's never a destination. You are always pivoting. The pivots might be drastic or small, but you're using these 4 steps intentionally to be the best version, which is growth, that God designed you to be. So I want to go ahead and remind you again of the 4 steps. The first step is you have to make a decision. And making a decision means you are letting stuff go and attracting things in. The second step is the whole prepare, mentally and physically, whatever you need to do to prepare yourself for this change. And then the third step, where it involves other people, is the transition. And included in that transition is communication with your support team and the resources that you need to pivot and do it well. And then finally, it's the harvest. And the harvest is when you start to get results. I want to encourage you, don't get comfortable when you start seeing results. What you want to do when you start seeing those results is asking yourself, when I look at this and I evaluate it, what things are good? What things are working? What things are making sure that I focus on the big stuff and not the little things that don't even matter? And then what you can do is say, okay, now let me do this for a minute so I can jump back into my next cycle when God deems it appropriate, because you're spending time getting naked with God. So I am so excited to have shared this journey with you, and I hope that these process for you pivoting, it makes sense for you. Now, I thought I was going to have a song, but I'm videoing a different way, so I am going to have a song, but I might be off beat. So let me just go to the music in my head right now. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to go to a slow song, and you're going to enjoy it. As I say, I'll see you tomorrow for Vlogmas. Love you so much. God bless and have a great day.